welcome to this lesson on multiplying and dividing negative numbers. Now this is quite a straightforward one if you know the rules. I'm going to show you a little process to find out those rules first of all, and then we're going to have a go at some questions. So first of all, I'm going to deal with something that you already know. So we do want to deal with negatives. I'm going to do from negative 3, so negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, 2 and 3. Let's do those. And then down, negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, 2 and 3, like that. Super. So let's deal with the things that we already know. So let's deal with, we're going to be looking at multiplying these, okay? So multiplying these numbers. So let's deal with multiplying the numbers that we already know. We already know how to multiply positive numbers by positive numbers. So 1 times 1 I know is 1. 1 times 2, should know this one, 2. 1 times 3, 3. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 3 is 6. And then 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 2 is 6. And 3 times 3 is 9. So we've dealt with all of those. We already know these. Now, you might think, well, actually, I know a few more on there, because I know that anything times by 0 is also 0. So 0 times by 3 is 0. 0 times by 2 is 0. In fact, all of these across here, like so, are 0, like that. So 0, 0, because 0 times by anything, 0 times by 3, 0 times by 2, 0 times by 1, like so. Brilliant. So we know all of those without doing anything. We don't need to think about any of those. So now let's have a look at some patterns. Now you might be able to spot these patterns. So here, can you spot the pattern going up this way? So 3, 2, 1, 0. Well, what comes here? Well, 3, 2, 1, 0, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. It's going down by 1, isn't it, if I'm going up here? What about this one? 6, 4, 2, 0. What would be next in the pattern there? Well, here, I'm taking away 2 each time, aren't I? So this one here would be minus 2, which would be negative 2, negative 4, and negative 6. Brilliant. Now, I'm just going to have a little think about that. Because remember, we're times in here. This number here is negative 2 times by positive 2. So what is a negative times by a positive? Well, a negative times by a positive is a negative value. Let's have a look if it works for this one as well. So 9, 6, 3, 0. So what comes after that? Well, I'm subtracting 3 each time for that. So this one here is going to be negative 3, negative 6, and negative 9, like so. So I'm subtracting 3 each time. Okay? So what this means is, well, let's think about this one here. These are the positive numbers, aren't they? So these ones here. These are the negative numbers. These are negative numbers, and these are positive numbers. So if I've got a positive number times by a positive number, so here, we know that it's a positive number. Okay? Positive 2 times by positive 3 is positive 4. We've just discovered that if I do a negative number times a positive number, negative times by a positive, this is equal to a negative number. So 3 times by 3 is 9, but negative 3 times by positive 3 is negative 9. Okay? So let's have a look and see if we can spot the patterns here. In fact, actually, looking at this one, the pattern's exactly the same as going this way, isn't it? 3, 2, 1, 0, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. Subtracting 1 each time. 6, 4, 2, 0, negative 2, negative 4, negative 6. Subtracting 2 each time. 9, 6, 3, 0, negative 3, negative 6, negative 9. Subtracting 3 each time. So here, let's have a look at this one. If I've got a positive number multiplied by a negative number, so a positive times by a negative is equal to, again, a negative number. Brilliant. So let's have a look at this last one here. So it doesn't matter which way, we can either go up or we can go this way. I'm going to go up. So negative 9, negative 6, negative 3, 0. What's happening here? I'm actually adding 3 each time. So plus 3, plus 3, plus 3, plus 3. So this one here is going to be 0 plus 3, which is 3, 6, and 9. Okay? What's happening here? Negative 6, negative 4, negative 2, 0. So plus 2 each time. 2, 4, 6, following the patterns. And then this one here, negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, 2, 3. Going plus 1 up there. And notice, now this is the one that always tricks people out. A negative number times by a negative number is a positive number, looking at the patterns. So here, if I've got a negative number times by a negative number, this is equal to a positive value. So let's just check that. Negative 2 times by negative 2. Well, I know that 2 times 2 is 4, and a negative times by negative is a positive 4. Brilliant, which makes sense. Okay, so get those rules down there. These are if you know these rules, all of this becomes very, very simple. Okay, so I've actually got them in the explanation here on the side. So when I times two positives together, I get a positive. A positive times a negative is a negative. A negative times a positive is a negative. And a negative times a negative is a positive. And actually, this is really important, but this is exactly the same rule for divisions as well. Now, I'm not going to do the patterns for divisions, but these work exactly the same way. So pause now and get those down in your notes. Pause now. You can either do them like I did. I'll show you that one now if you want to do it like that. So pause now. Either get them down like I have on here, or pause and get them down like that. Okay. So let's have a go at some of these together. It's nice and straightforward this now. As long as you know that pattern and understand those rules and remember them, this becomes really easy. Okay, so here we've got our first example. So example 1. So I've got 3 times by negative 13. Brilliant. So this is actually quite a tricky one, isn't it? It's a hard sum, 3 times by negative 13. So the way we do this is you multiply the numbers first, and then you think about the rules. So I'm going to write the rules over here. In fact, I'm just going to make this a little bit smaller so we can write the rules. So remember, a positive times a positive is equal to a positive. A positive times by a negative is equal to a negative. A negative times by a positive is equal to a negative. And a negative times by a negative is equal to a negative, like so. So these are all the rules. So example 1, 3 times by negative 13. So first of all, let's do 3 times 13. Now that's quite tricky. I'm going to do 13 times table. So 13, 26, 39. So 3 times by 13 is 39. Now this is a positive number multiplied by a negative number. So a positive times by a negative number is a negative, so this must be negative 39. There you go, there's your first answer. Now, pause now if you want and have a little go at that one on the right hand side, see if you understand it. So pause now and have a little go at that one on the right. Okay, let's have a go at it together then. So negative 2 times by 7. Deal with the numbers first, then think about whether it's positive or negative. So 2 times by 7 is 14. Negative times by positive is a negative value, like so. Brilliant. So, negative 14. Negative times by positive is a negative. Negative times by positive is a negative value. Perfect. Okay, so let's have a go at some more of these. I think you'll probably find these straightforward now. So, example 3. So negative 2 times by negative 7. Now this looks quite similar to the last one, but it's not. Okay, so negative 2 times by negative 7. So deal with the numbers first. 2 times by 7 is 14. And a negative times by a negative, well, hang on, what's happened here? That should be positive, shouldn't it? Negative times a negative is a positive value. If you wrote that down wrong in your notes, make sure you correct it. So a negative times by negative is a positive value. I could put a plus there if I want, plus 14, but we tend not to. We tend to just write 14 like that, and that's perfect. So a negative times by a negative is a positive value. Okay, so pause now and have a little go at that one on the right-hand side. Pause now and have a go at that one on the right. Let's have a go at it together then. So negative 8 times by negative 3, multiplied by negative 3. So deal with the numbers first. 8, 16, 24. 8 times by 3 is 24. And a negative times by a negative is a positive value. So again, I could put a positive there, but I know that 24 is just positive there. Brilliant. So there's your two answers there. So let's have a look at some more of these. Now, I said to you the rules were exactly the same for division. Now, if you want to get these down in your notes, you can do. Not going to make too much difference. You could do a positive divided by a positive is equal to a positive. Positive divided by a negative is equal to a negative. A negative divided by a positive is equal to a negative. And a negative divided by a negative is equal to a positive. As long as you remember both of these, it all becomes very easy. And this will come up, especially in that non-calculator paper. It might not come up like that. You might think to yourself, this is really easy. When will I make a mistake like this? Okay. However, these come up in slap bang in the middle of a question during that non-calculator paper. It could be a substitution question. It could be a best buys question. These always come up in the middle of a question. You've got to really be strong with these. So don't take it for granted. Okay. So example 5 this is, and it's 21 divided by negative 7. So deal with the numbers first. 21 divided by 7 is 3. Positive divided by a negative is a positive divided by a negative is a negative value, like so. Brilliant. So pause now and have a little go at that one on the right-hand side. Pause now and have a little go at that one on the right. Brilliant. So I wrote this in a different way. Don't be worried by that. Still the same. Negative 10 divided by 5. So deal with the numbers first. 10 divided by 5 is 2. And a negative divided by a positive. Again, negative divided by a positive is a negative value. So that's negative 2. Brilliant. Okay. So just a couple more to get through. I think you should probably be really comfortable with these now. In fact, I'm going to suggest pause now and have a go at both of those yourself. Okay, so let's have a go at them together then. Nice and straightforward. So, first of all, negative 100 divided by negative 4. Well, 100 divided by 4 is 25. And negative divided by negative is a positive value, so positive 25. Brilliant. This next one, negative 48 divided by negative 8. So 48 divided by 8 is equal to 6. And a negative divided by negative is a positive 6. Negative divided by negative is a positive value. Super. Okay. So, here we've got a little test your knowledge section. So this is just to make sure that you understand all of this. So pause now and have a little go at those yourself. And depending on how you're doing this one, I'm going to give you 3 levels of worksheets to have a go at. So pause now and have a little go at that yourself. Okay, so let's have a look at these. So they're the answers. So mark these in green. Mark them in your notes. Okay, so if you didn't get any of those right, I'm going to suggest you have a go at these ones. If you got between 0 and 1 right, have a go at these base level questions. These are just your basic ones, and practice a load of these, okay? Go back, have a look at what we've done, and have a go at all of these questions. If you got between 2 and 3 right, have a go at these questions here. They're a little bit tricky, and they get trickier towards the end. So if you got between 2 and 3, have a go at the developing level. And if you got all the questions right, have a go at these ones where it's a little bit trickier again. So this is the mastery section. I've actually got a second mastery slide if you want to have a go at that one. So pause and have a go at this one first. Then have a go at these ones. So this is the second slide for mastery. Brilliant. So there's your base level answers. Mark those. How did you get on? Here's your developing answers. And the hardest ones, the mastery. So there's all your mastery answers. So, thank you for watching this video on multiplying and dividing negative numbers. Remember, do not take this for granted. This may seem easy, but it is tricky, okay? So, do make sure you're having a go at these questions, because remember, the only way to learn maths is to do it, and have a lovely day, and I hope you understood it all well. Thank you.